Good evening, race fans. My name is Jacob Fescan, and we are here for the penultimate round of the Crazy Dog T-Shirts Xfinity Series, presented by Crazy Dog T-Shirts and Graphics. We also broadcast or sponsored by Subbies. Out here for our race at the virtual Phoenix Raceway. We're going to be getting ready to go 100 laps around here. Drivers are going to be pulling off. We will run you through your starting grid as we can. As drivers are working their way down the backstretch, going to be rolling off. Car Janzik was your pole sitter. Brian Lorenzo second. Kyle Holden third. James Harris fourth. You've got Tyler Meeks, or excuse me, Ian Ogden, 21 fifth. Meeks sixth. Wayman Jr. seventh. Drivers going to be getting ready to go, and they are off and rolling. It's like Janzik going to lead them off as we work our way across the start-finish line into turn number one. Janzik again grabbing the pole. He's going to work his way off of turn number two. This is at the newly configured Phoenix Raceway, so what you thought was the old front stretch is now actually the back stretch. And what was the back stretch is now the front stretch. Janzik's going to lead them off of turn number four down the front stretch on the dog leg going into turn number one. Quickly jumps out to he should be race leader Joe Gregory. Actually, somehow showing as the lead. Looks like we had a bit of an issue that way, as Janzik was your race winner or pole sitter, but he's currently got about half a second ahead of Lorenzo. We're going to let the timing kind of sort itself out as caution comes out. Looks like Robert Wynn had a bit of an issue, so we're going to let everything sort out, see if we can try to figure out what exactly is going on with the timing, because I showed Janzik as your pole sitter. It looks like they're getting that sorted out now as Joe Gregory goes back to 14th. We got 15 cars out here though, 80 laps, 2 sets of tires, 65% fuel capacity, 1 fast repair. Glad to have everybody on board with us. Sorry about the late start. Let's see if we can find out what happened to Robert Wynn to bring out first caution of tonight. You see Robert Wynn in the 16 Metallica car working just ahead of the 57 of William Mann, and just behind the 25 of Chris Sawyer. Looks like Wynn's entering into turn number 3, I believe that's going to be. Work his way. Excuse me, that is turn number 2. Apologize, he was in the middle 1 and 2, and just trying to get back on the throttle. Looks like he gets on the throttle a little bit too hard there. A little bit too early and just loses the grip as the car just spins itself out coming out of turn number 2, locks it down, makes contact with the inside retaining wall. Takes a bit of contact there to the left front, left and right front taking impact. But looks like the left front takes the brunt of it. The whole rest of the field able to avoid him. So that's what brings us out quickly under our first caution. That was your Team Goon Squad instant replay. So Janzik, still your race leader. Brian Lorenzo second. Ian Ogden third. Or excuse me, Kyle Holden third. James Harris was your 4th place starter. Ian Ogden, 5th place starter. Those two have swapped spots. Tyler Meeks gridded 6th. William Mann Jr. started 7th. Harley Belletta 8th. Chris Sawyer 9th. William Mann Sr. 10th. And you had Robert Wynn start off at 11th. Austin Habel 12th. Charles Whitehead 13th. Had Joe Gregory, I believe, started 14th, and Russ Kilgore was your 15th and final driver. So looks like a pretty quick caution. We're already getting the 1 to go, going to be going back to green for lap number 6. Janzik will be leading him off. Again, apologies for the late start. Thank you to everybody tuned in. Again, this is the second to last round of this Crazy Dog T-Shirts season Xfinity Series. We'll be going to Charlotte next week for the season finale. Drivers technically have the option, I believe with the restart zone, if it is in play, they will not be able to go until they come out of turn number 4. They gotta go restart zone. Their old rules, drivers were actually able to go anytime the pace car pulled off and starting on what is the backstretch, but Jantic brings them around back under the green flag here on lap number 6. Jantic takes advantage of that inside line, jumps out to an early lead ahead of Kyle Holden. Holden actually clears Brian Lorenzo for second. He's going to be working his way around the middle of the track, starting with a higher entry leader. Apex getting down to the yellow line just on the exit of turn 2. Front 4 are going to separate. We've got side-by-side between the 21 of Ian Ogden and the 35 of Tyler Meeks. Looks like Ogden's going to clear Meeks as they go into turn 3 and 4. Try to work about a lane off the outside retaining wheel. Try to close up to the 55 subbies machine of James Harris. Again, working here on lap number 7. See, the field separating out a little bit as we've got about a 0.4 of a second gap, almost half a second between Janzik and Lorenzo. Lorenzo just working by Kyle Holden, though, across the front stretch, so he's going to retake the second place spot. It's allowing Janzik to open up his gap to about 3/4 of a second. Kyle Holden in quick pursuit of Lorenzo, trying to get that second place spot back. I would expect drivers to need to come in somewhere between lap 35 and 40, potentially, with the way that first caution fell. Nobody was on pit road with the exception of Robert Wynn under that last caution. We'll see what kind of tire fall off everybody does see. Most drivers are starting to set their fast laps. Last time by here on lap number 9, Lorenzo starts to separate a little bit out from Craig Janzik. So we're going to go back as there's a good battle going on between the 57 of William Mann Sr., the 6 of Austin Hable. Mann Sr. there in the White Castle Chevy Camaro on the inside. Hable in the DHL Toyota Supra, black and yellow car. As they run through 3 and 4, Hable runs an extremely high line through 4. That's also going to allow the 7 of Russ Kilgore to try to work to the inside of Mann. Mann was able to clear Austin Hable. Hable just overshot 3 and 4. Russ Kilgore works his way by Mann Sr. Russ Kilgore up into the top 10, Mann Sr. back to 11th, and Hable back to 12th. Go back those, we got kind of a battle trying to brew between the 21 of Ian Ogden and the 35 of Tyler Meeks. Ogden kind of running that outside line there through 3 and 4. Meeks takes advantage of it and gets by. Ogden going to try to look back behind him as they go through 1 and 2. Laps quicking off pretty quick here as we are on lap number 11. Meeks now occupies 5th place, Ogden back to 6th. And Junior and Harley Valletta and Chris Sawyer not too far off. They're all about 0.2 of a second apart. So we see a bit of a battle forming here through 6th through 9th place on track. Let's see, Ogden leading Mann Jr., Barletta, and Chris Sawyer. Gaps up just a little bit, about 0.3 of a second gap ahead of Mann Jr. Mann Jr. trying to close it back up. He's in close quarters with Harley Valletta, Chris Sawyer. It's about your closest battle on track right now. Front 5 kind of separated out. Janzik now with about a half a second lead over Brian Lorenzo. It's about half a tenth faster the last time by. We're starting to see anywhere from about 3 to 0.6 a second a fall off. Side by side between Mann Jr. and Valletta. Valletta going to try to work the inside line going into turn 1. Excuse me, that was turn 3. I'm still trying to get New Phoenix. No, that was turn 1. I had that right. New Phoenix still confuses me at times. I apologize for those errors. But you see Ian Ogden pulling away from this battle now. So Ogden about half second ahead of Mann Jr. And Jr. about 0.2 of a second in front of Harley Valletta here as we work back into turn number 1 on lap 15. Chris Sawyer's fallen off this group. He's now about 0.7 of a second behind. I go back though as we've got a good battle developing between Joe Gregory and Austin Hable. Austin Hable unfortunately falling back a few more spots since the restart. He's now down to 13th as Joe Gregory worked His number 15 Subbies Toyota Super by Hable. See if he continues to open up that gap, or if Hable can try to fight back. As he tries to get in line, you also see Robert Wynn running a high line behind these two. Last time by, Gregory was about a quarter of a second faster than Hable, so it looks like he should be able to open that back up. We're going to go back to Harley Valletta, though. Falls off a little bit. Looks like Sawyer and Kilgore trying to close up to Barletta. What was 7/10 of a second between Barletta and Kilgore is now down to about 3/10 of a second. It's going to be one of your closer battles on the track right now. This for 8th and 9th. And you see Russ Kilgore trying to insert himself into this battle. He's only about 2/10 of a second. Sawyer runs the inside line through turn number 2. Barletta runs a little bit of a wider exit. See if you can get the momentum. Looks like you also got Tyler Meeks having a bit of an issue. You saw him quickly on the inside part of your screen. Sawyer going to dive it in. Valletta taking a little bit of a later apex there through 3 and 4. Sawyer taking a lower entry, lower exit out of turn number 4. It's going to allow Russ Kilgore to try to close up. So Barletta pulls away briefly from Sawyer, but Sawyer dives it in deep again, trying to get all the ground he can on the entrance into turn 1 on Harley Valletta. Kilgore trying to take a similar line as well. Looks like Kilgore disappears momentarily from the iRacing server. We'll see if he pops back up. He does come back in. Again, when you see the cars disappear on your screen like that, it typically indicates that they've had a momentary disconnect from the iRacing server. iRacing's not sure where to place them on track until they can restore that signal. So Valletta opens the gap up to about 3.5/10. He's trying to close into the 21 of Ogden, as well as the 29 of Mann Jr. Meeks recovers from his mistakes, starts to open back up top 5. Janzik still losing a little bit of time. Lorenzo now about 1/2 of a second faster the last time by. Lorenzo about 4/10 of a second back from Craig Janzik. So if that gap closes up for the lead, we will definitely get you back to that. See Mann Jr. and Tyler Meeks going side by side. Excuse me, that's Harley Valletta and Ian Ogden were going side by side. Ogden was still trying to work on him. Got a little bit closer, falls back. So still our battle for 7th and 8th place. But Russ Kilgore trying to run all over Kilgore and Chris Sawyer, trying to run all over Ian Ogden. Give him some pressure for that 8th place spot. Harley Valletta jumping to the inside of William Mann Jr. Mann Jr. running the outside line as they come out of turn number 2. Oh, Harley Valletta runs maybe a tiny bit of contact to the left rear of Mann Jr. by Barletta. Very, very close if they didn't touch. But you see Ian Ogden also trying to take advantage of that. Ogden drives back to the inside. Mann Jr. and Barletta going to go side by side as they cross the start-finish line back into turn 1. Barletta going to clear Mann Jr., so that puts him up to the 6th place. We'll see. Ian Ogden dives hard to the inside of Mann Jr. Ogden going to try to take that spot away if he can. Saw an opening. Mann Jr. gets a little bit of a better drive, off clears Ogden as they go back down the backstretch into turn number 3. So Ogden trying to hold himself as close to Mann Jr.'s bumper and stay ahead of Chris Sawyer. Russ Kilgore. It's again a great battle for 7th through 10th on track. They were starting to separate themselves out in the top 5. At about almost 6/10 of a second between Janzik and Lorenzo. You've got almost a full second between Lorenzo and Holden, and then you've got about 3 seconds between Holden and Harris. Gaps, top 5 opening up quite a bit. Some of your best action here as Ogden start to pull away from Russ Kilgore. Back here starting to single file out a little bit. Driver's starting to get into a bit of a rhythm. Approaching the 1/3 mark of tonight's event. One caution early on. Lap 1, able to keep it green since then. Robert Wynn had a solo spin off of turn number 2 to bring out our first caution. A little bit of damage to the front end. He's recovered, found himself up to the 13th place. All drivers still on the lead lap. So we work on lap 25 of 80 here. So just 66 laps to go right now. Excuse me, 56 laps to go. Sawyer still in front of Russ Kilgore by about 2/10 of a second. Ogden Jr. Ogden and Mann Jr. now kind of spacing themselves evenly. They're about 0.3 of a second apart from each other. Harley Balletta's gapped them almost a full second ahead, varying between 3/4 of a second and a full second. He's trying to catch Tyler Meeks. Last time by, he was about 1/10 of a second faster than Tyler Meeks. Go up there as that gap's going to start to close down. Meeks again occupying that 5th place spot. You can see right front damage in his 35 machine. So Harley Balletta definitely taking advantage of that. Is Phoenix is a mile in length, drives kind of similar to a short track, but you can't sustain too much damage to the vehicle. It does not bode well for the handling. And there are quite a bit of high speeds here, so it does matter a little bit. Oh, you see Chris Sawyer getting into Russ Kilgore. They're both going to go to the inside. We'll see if that brings out a caution. And we do, as Sawyer stopped on the track. So you saw quickly Russ Kilgore coming across the track on the nose of Russ Kilgore. See if we can grab a replay of what happened there, but we are under our 2nd caution tonight here on lap number 25. Grab a replay for you of what brought that out. So we're going to come back a little bit. You're going to see Russ Kilgore in the 7 machine. So they came off of turn number 2. Kilgore blinked for a minute. Let's see where he reappears. Looks like that's going to be a bit of a dead spot. Let's see if we can grab this with Chris Sawyer. A little bit of a better look. All right. This should be a better look here. See Kilgore in the 7, Rod Baker Ford machine, Sawyer in the 25 Lance Snacks machine. This again is coming off of turn number 2. Looks like Sawyer is going to get himself wide coming out of turn number 2. Gets the outside retaining wall, and that puts Kilgore with not much of a place to go. This is the part where we saw it live, and that's where unfortunately Kilgore had nowhere to go, got into the left rear of Sawyer, and sent Sawyer and Kilgore down the track. Sawyer taking whole front end damage, Kilgore actually getting both right front and left front damage, so that's what brings out our 2nd caution. It's like all drivers coming onto pit road. So we're going to take a second to grab a quick commercial break for you here. Alright, back with you here. Again, working our 2nd caution tonight here on lap 32 of 80. We are going to be going back to green next time by. This field gets double fouled up for the restart. Jancic still your race leader. James Harris, after the pit stops, gets himself up to 2nd. Kyle Holden 3rd. Harley Balletta in 4th. William Mann Jr. 5th, Ian Ogden 6th. Pretty much everybody, with the exception of Robert Wynn, all came on for 4 tires and full fuel. Chris Sawyer did not come onto pit road. Looks like everybody taking a pretty similar strategy there, minus Robert Wynn. See how that all pays out. Jan's going to be leading them back to green, working our way through 3 and 4, coming into the Geico restart zone. Janzik on the throttle, and we are back under green here, starting lap number 33 of 80. Just 48 laps to go. Janzik with a quick jump to the lead. Holden is able to clear James Harris. James Harris going to try to look back underneath of Holden as they go into turn number 1. Thinks better of it. Who gets pretty much single file all the way through. A couple side-by-side battles back as drivers had some issues. Brian Lorenzo starting in the back, you can see. Ryan Lorenzo in the 77 Crazy Dog T-shirts machine working the inside of the 57-man senior. He's going to try to get by him. That'll put him up into 9th place. He's running right behind the 15 of Joe Gregory and has the 7 of Russ Kilgore on the outside now. Trying to find his way through Kilgore and Gregory. Jumps out behind Kilgore as he works the outside of Joe Gregory. Turn number 2 down the backstretch. Lorenzo trying to find his way through the field, able to clear Gregory, kills Russ. Clears Russ Kilgore as they work across the start-finish line onto lap 35, so put him up to 7th. He's got about a half second to go to try to get to Ian Ogden. See Harley Valletta going to be engaged with a battle with the 29 of William Mann Jr. Mann Jr. going to be working on his tail as they come out of turn number 2. Look like for second. Valletta overshot turn number 1 and 2. Jumps back ahead. It's about 5/10 of a second behind James Harris. Harris now falling about a full second behind Kyle Holden. Holden about 6/10 of a second behind Craig Janzik. Ogden and Lorenzo not going to be engaged in the battle as Lorenzo's going to work the extreme outside line through turn number 2. Ogden against the yellow line. You see William Mann Jr. just up ahead of Lorenzo. Lorenzo clears Ogden off of turn number 2 down the backstretch, puts Lorenzo into 6th. Now dives to the inside of Mann Jr. Going to try to work the inside line through 3 and 4 to clear him. Barely clears him as they come across the start-finish line. But as quickly as that, Ryan Lorenzo up into the top 5 again. As the sight's set on the 81 Crazy Dog T-shirts machine of Harley Valletta. Again, want to thank Crazy Dog T-shirts as well as Subbies for coming on board sponsoring this league. This is our 9th race of a 10-race schedule. Glad to have all these drivers here. We've seen a mix of winners. A couple guys find them way up to the front most races, but we've had a great season. Great battle amongst all the drivers. Very clean and respectful racing all season as well. Next week will be Charlotte, and then the following week, postseason all-star race will be at the newly configured Atlanta Motor Speedway. That's what's upcoming on the schedule. Crazy Dog T-shirts Xfinity Series. So we keep it here. Lorenzo closing the gap down to Harley Valletta quickly last time by, almost 0.3 of a second faster. He's got the gap down to just under a quarter of a second. He's going to dive hard into turn number 1, try to get to the back bumper of Barletta. See how he works off of turn number 2 on the backstretch. Pulls the vehicle down the line. I think he had to save it. Got a little bit loose from off the corner. Not quite able to clear Barletta down the backstretch, but he's going to work to his inside as they go through the middle of 3 and 4. Haven't seen anybody taking the hard cut across the dog lead like we've been accustomed to seeing at times. Lorenzo working that inside line when he can. Clears Barletta through the middle of 1 and 2, so Lorenzo back up to the 4th place spot trying to make a charge. James Harris going to be his next driver inside. Harris about a full second ahead. Lorenzo about 10th of a second the last time by. We'll see this time by what the difference is in lap times. This time by about a 10th of a second slower. Go up to the front though as Kyle Holden is quickly closing down on Craig Janzik. He's got the gap down to 0.2 of a second. So he quickly is cutting in that gap. Was about a 10th of a second faster than Craig Janzik the last time by. They worked their way both across the start-finish line to start lap number 42. Still about a 10th of a second faster for Kyle Holden. He's going to quickly work about a half a lane lower than Craig Janzik through 1 and 2. Takes a little bit of a lower entry. Doesn't get quite as much momentum off the corner. His gap stands about 0.2 of a second. Fastest lap of the race was set by Craig Janzik at a 27.60. Drivers have fallen off almost a full second. All we're on around lap number 29 for that last caution. So about 13, 14 laps or so, we've seen almost a full second of fall off. So tires will definitely be important. I don't think the drivers, I think they're all going to need one more stop for fuel. So I would not be surprised to see everybody split the race in half, come in somewhere around lap number 55, 56. It all depends on who wants to take advantage of those fresh tires that they feel the lap times will benefit them enough. Kyle Holden keeping the gap right around 0.2 of a second. You see hounding in the tracks. Craig Janzik, again, running about half a lane off of him. Imagine that's to keep some clean air over that nose of the 95 machine, give him some grip on those front tires, allow him to turn a little bit better. He's searching for a way around. Janzik wants to claim that lead for the first time tonight. See Chris Sawyer working his way out of the pit. Sawyer is a lap off pace. Comes out just ahead of Janzik and Holden as they work their way back onto the backstretch. Ryan Lorenzo still 4th place, cut the gap down to about 0.3 of a second to James Harris. James Harris about 2 seconds behind this battle here for 1st and 2nd. Last time by, Kyle Holden just under half a tenth faster than Craig Janzik, so he can close up to about 1/10 or so, half a car length. Just kind of stalls out, can't quite break through that bubble of air behind Janzik to make the pass. See Sawyer running the extreme low line down the backstretch, gets himself righted back into turn number 3. We'll see if Sawyer mixes into this battle for the lead at all. So we're here on lap number 47, just 34 laps to go. And I would not be surprised to see drivers coming in the next 10 laps or so, but we'll see what they elect to do. Pit strategy with that caution. Renzo has worked his way by James Harris, puts himself back in the top 3. He's 2.5 seconds back of this battle. Last time by was a little bit slower than this battle, so gonna find it tough to pick up. I think he might use a little bit more of his tires compared to what Janzik and Holden are doing. Janzik working a little bit of a higher exit out of turn number 2, allows them to carry just a little bit more momentum. He can get onto the throttle a little bit sooner. Lead position definitely seems to be control with that fresh air. Track position helping big time. Find that important at some tracks. Phoenix Raceway, no different. Kyle Holden doing a great job sticking to the back bumper of Craig Janzik. And you see him working, trying to find the inside line around Craig Janzik. Still just able to bring it to about 1/10, 1/10.5 at best. And just kind of stalls out, cannot quite get any closer. See if that continues to be a theme as we work our way on to lap number 50. Got a couple battles developing. Looks like Austin Habel and William Mann Sr. with a little bit of a battle. They trade places. Mann Sr. battling with Habel. We'll go back here. Get you back to the lead if anything changes. Janzik pulling away from Kyle Holden, so we'll keep an eye on that. Mann Sr. trying to pull away from Tyler Meeks and Austin Habel. And Sr. occupying the 10th final spot. Looks like Habel's going to work to the inside of Meeks. Meeks continuing to fall back. Habel puts himself into 11th. Meeks, unfortunately, started 6th tonight. Not having a great effort back in the 12th spot. Struggling a little bit. Seen a couple drivers have some issues off of the corners here. Low downforce, higher horsepower combination for the Xfinity Series. These cars tend to provide a little bit of a tougher time trying to get the throttle down, especially at a track with a little bit of flatter corners, similar to the exited turn at number 4. Or turn number 2, excuse me, going on to the backstretch here. So Driver's having a bit of problems navigating that. We're going to go up. Ogden's feeling some pressure from 7 at Russ Kilgore. Ogden running in 7th, Russ Kilgore in 8th. Kilgore is your current most positions gained since the start. He's up 7 spots, started dead last in 15, finds himself in 8th place. Doing a good job. He and Joe Gregory picking up quite a few spots on the grid. Not many drivers able to move up spots from where they started tonight, so if you've been able to gain anything, you're definitely showing some speed. Just see Ogden holding this battle off. Kilgore opens the gap up to about a quarter of a second, trying to close back down to the 29 of William Mann Jr. Last time by was about 0.2 of a second faster than Mann Jr. Kilgore running an almost identical lap time. Kilgore closes back up. Again, this battle for 6th, 7th, and 8th on track. We're going to look to the inside of Ian Ogden, just not quite able to get there. He's about half a car length behind as they work their way off of turn number 4 across the start-finish line. They have 26 laps to go here tonight, entering the final third. See when drivers elect to start coming in. Jump back up to the front, though, is see they've worked by the 51 of Charles Whitehead. It's 2 cars off the lead lap. Janzik opening the gap up to about 3.5 of a second or so. Lap time's nearly identical for your top 3. Drivers within 0.5 of a second of each other. Identical lap times for Janzik and Holden. Lorenzo not much ahead of them, so pretty tough for Lorenzo to close up. He's still about 2.5 seconds behind Craig Janzik. Interested to see how much longer drivers look to do. I'd be hard-pressed to imagine that they do a fuel only unless they feel like they just need a couple laps worth of fuel to get to the end. Then it might be worth it to stay out. But again, your tire fall-off's kind of leveled out, but still about 1.25 seconds fall-off, so it'd be pretty substantial to try to make that run unless they don't expect the tires to fall off any more of these last 23, 24 laps or so tonight. Keep an eye on how the strategy goes. Speed race. Get you back to that battle between Kilgore, Mann Jr., and Ogden. Kilgore was able to work his way by Ian Ogden, so Kilgore's up to 7th. Ian Ogden back to 8th. See Ogden trying to dive below the yellow line, front stretch. Dogleg trying to get his way back to the back bumper of Russ Kilgore. Russ Kilgore trying to close up a 0.2 of a second gap to William Mann Jr. Last time by was about 1.5 faster. So he's working that gap, which is 22 laps to go. Not sure if he'll be able to work his way to the top 5 without some sort of pitch strategy calls. He's about 4.5 seconds behind the 81 of Harley Belletta, who occupies the 5th spot. Definitely can see a good battle on our hands here for 6th and 7th between Mann Jr. and Russ Kilgore before too long. Kilgore brings within 1.5. See him dive to the inside there into turn 3. Throws it hard, washes up the track as he carries a lot of momentum from turn 3. And Jr. going to get a little bit of a better run off of turn number 4. Ian Ogden, your first driver, electing to pit for green flag stops. It's out of the 8th place. Brian Lorenzo now coming in as well. So it looks like green flag stops starting to come in somewhere right around final third mark to final quarter mark. Keep an eye on the rest of the lead drivers, see how long they stay out. Kilgore again going to try the same move back onto the inside into turn number 3. Keeps it on the bottom. He's going to battle side by side with Mann Jr. We'll see if he can clear him out of the dog leg into turn number 1. Kyle Holden in the pits as well. Mann Sr. in the pits. Kilgore does clear Mann Jr., so puts Kilgore up to the top 5. Green flag stops. Harley Belletta choosing to come in now as well. So we'll see how this all works. We're going back to Janzik, though. He's got a nice 8.5 second lead over James Harris. We'll see if he wants to continue on with this leader, if he's going to try to come in. Maybe trying to trap the field a lap down, see if he can catch a caution. Somebody struggles on cold tires, maybe spins it out, brings out the caution, and he can pit without losing that lead. Austin Habel also on. Looks like Charles Whitehead trying to work his way up through the lap drivers still not pitted yet. So top 7 all still have not pitted since the second caution. See how they're all going to work this one. Let's see. Man Jr. in the background. Or excuse me, that was Man Sr. in the background. Jancic continues to stay out. Russ Kilgore pits out of the 4th spot. Austin Hable rejoining after his green flag stops. 17 laps to go for Craig Jancic as he works his way onto the backstretch. Oh, looks like we do have a spin. Could that bring out a caution? I believe that was... Yes, that was the 57 of Man Sr. And that does bring out the caution. So this is going to mix things up drastically here. We're working our 3rd caution with just 16 laps to go for a spin for William Mann Sr. off of turn number 2. Let's grab you a replay of what happened to Mann Sr. See Mann Sr. working here out of, he's in the middle of turn number 1 and 2 right now. Austin Hable just up ahead of him. And then Craig Jancic, your leader at the time, just up ahead of him as well. Mann Sr. trying to work his way to the outside of Austin Hable as Hable was working his way out of pit road coming up to speed. And Senior, you're going to see that car right there start to kick around. You see it getting into a little bit of a 4-wheel slide. Just gets onto the throttle a little too hard on those cold tires. And we saw that happen early on to Robert Wynn. Same thing, nearly an identical spin to Man Senior. He's going to get the wall on the inside of the track, almost the same spot. So timely caution, I would say, for your front 6 that had not pitted yet. Allows them to pit without losing a lap. Traps some quick guys down a lap as well. So we're going to see what this does. How this is all going to sort out. Because right now, Tyler Meeks is scored as your race leader. But he has yet to come to pit road. I can't imagine he's got enough fuel to make it. I would be expecting to see him here soon. Looks like he is going to be pulling on the pit road. As he works that inside line. He's going to pull in behind Man Sr. He also has Chris Sawyer following on, so that should put Craig Jancic back to the lead. It's going to take a little bit for the field to get sorted out. We've got some drivers that are scored on the lead lap, but just ahead of your race leader, Craig Jancic here. So we'll see how this all sorts out, where they're going to all end up before we go back to green. As the drivers work their way around. Even when we get the 1 to go, anybody that is on the tail end of the lead lap should get waved around the pace car, and that should make it a little bit easier for us to see who is where in the field. We've currently got Craig Jancic, your leader, James Harris in 2nd, William Mann Jr. is up to 3rd, Joe Gregory 4th, and Robert Wynn is actually in the top 5 as well. All of those drivers did make 2nd stop on lap number 65 under this caution. So we'd assume they'd all be good to go. Kyle Holden 6th, Tyler Meeks 7th, Brian Lorenzo 8th, Charles Whitehead 9th, Ali Valletta 10th, and Russ Kilgore 11th, your final driver on the lead lap. Pace car gets the 1 to go. Field gonna get waved around, so we should get everybody that was on the lead lap there back around so they restart behind. We'll see if they can catch up to the back of the field in time to not have a delayed restart. Need to have a fair restart with all these drivers trying to catch their way up that they can get to the back of the field. We'll see how that happens here. So Kyle Holden is 7th, your last one that's back, close to everybody. Lorenzo, Whitehead, Barletta, Kilgore all trying to work their way around. You may see them come flying up in the back. It'll be real interesting. This could be a bit of a messy restart if it does go green, but really that's all the iRacing officials to sort out. All they want to do is we'll see if we do go green this time or if we get one extra lap added. Looks like we are going to go green, so kind of a split field. Weird deal out of that. Not sure if I would have added an extra lap as an official to give that a little bit of a better start, but Janzik getting another big lead off of that start up to almost 0.6 of a second. James Harris in second. It's ahead of Man Jr. Man Jr. just ahead of Tyler Meeks. Meeks leading Joe Gregory 0.3 of a second. Joe Gregory and Robert Wynn have got almost 3 wide back behind them. Wynn and Gregory were running side by side. This is for 5th and 6th. You see Kyle Holden working his way up. Chris Sawyer, Lorenzo, a bunch of drivers that were all trying to catch the back of the field, trying to work their way up as we got just 11 laps to go. You can see Chris Sawyer is off the lead lap. Man Sr. is 4th position. Brian Lorenzo trying to work his way. He's got to get by a bunch of drivers that are... it's like Ian Ogden is off the lead lap. Black and gray camo car. He's the 21 there. Lorenzo worked by. Lorenzo is trying to get up to Kyle Holden as the next car 4 position. So he's got 3 cars that are lapped down to him to try to get by. Jump back up those. We still see battles up here. Robert Wynn's pulled away from Joe Gregory. Kyle Holden now trying to fight to the inside of Joe Gregory. Holden going to try to put himself back up to the 6th spot. It's like Holden going to clear Joe Gregory as they work their way through 1 and 2. There's Gregory by about a car length now as they work their way down the pack stretch. As he set his sights on Robert Wynn. See how this works out. 8 laps to go, though. Things could get very interesting. These drivers, we got drivers that were trapped in the back the way that caution fell, trying to work their way up through the field. Just not sure if there's going to be enough laps. Oh, but we do get a yellow flag as Ian Ogden has a bit of an issue. There are just 8 laps to go. You can see heavy front end and back end damage for Ian Ogden. See if we can find out what happened to lead to some substantial damage to the front and back end of that machine. I don't think he's going to have cooling issues anymore, but he's certainly going to have some handling and aerodynamic issues out of that vehicle. So we can grab a replay of what happened to him. Let's see, Ian Ogden engaged in battle with both William Mann Sr. and Austin Hable. Mann Sr. just up ahead. Ogden working to the inside. This is out of the dogleg going back into turn number 1. So we're going to see if there's contact between Mann Sr. and Ogden. It's like Ogden working to the inside as they go into turn number 1. Gonna dive it down to the yellow line. Hard to say if Mann Sr. kept coming down or if Ogden maybe washed up just a hair. But that contact between the door got him loose. And he just shot straight up the track, hard into the outside retaining wall. A little bit of contact off the right front of Mann Sr., but his car took a heavy shot to the outside retaining wall, spun around, and got the back end as well. That does put us under our 4th caution here, 6 laps to go. Should allow some of the drivers that were trying to catch back up, tighten back up. You got drivers like Ryan Lorenzo, Russ Kilgore, Raleigh Belletta, Charles Whitehead, Chris Sawyer, all trying to close back up. They were on the lead lap at various points on the track in relation to Craig Janzik. Let's see if that gives anybody newfound hope. Got Janzik, Harris, and Mann Jr. your top 3 right now. Meeks in 4th, Robert Wynn 5th, Kyle Holden 6th, Joe Gregory 7th, Brian Lorenzo 8th, Russ Kilgore 9th, Raleigh Belletta 10th, Charles Whitehead 11th, Chris Sawyer, last driver on the lead lap, in 12th. See if Sawyer is able to get out of pit road before the field works by. working their way back into turn number 1, so I believe he should be able to make it. He gets out of the pit soon. Have a shootout to the finish, likely only a 3-lap sprint to the checkered flag here, assuming no more cautions come out, put us into Crazy Dog T-shirts overtime. So we should get the one to this time by. See if the lights go off on the pace car as they cross the start-finish line. They do. We are going to get double fouled back up. Have a 3-lap dash to the checkered flag to finish out tonight's race. Jansen gonna restart on the inside line. He's been getting great restarts all night long. Let's see with this such short run to the checkered flag, if that restart can happen again, if that can lock the race one up for him. Kurt Jansen gonna be on his out, or James Harris on the outside. Wait, man, Junior gonna be on the inside. We'll see if he can try to pick up a spot two before the end of tonight's race. Field works their way down the backstretch. So Chris Sawyer trying to catch up to the back. We have all 15 cars still on track, couple cars off the lead lap, all 15 drivers still running here. This might be the first time we had this in quite a while all season. Jansen gets the hard turn, cuts it down to the bottom, tries to get the run. Not quite as big of a restart as James Harris going to try to challenge behind him. Harris working to the inside of Tyler Meeks. Going to clear Tyler Meeks as they go back into turn number 1. Janzik up to about a 3/10 of a second lead. Tyler Meeks going to work hard to the outside of James Harris as they come off at turn number 2. You see William Mann Jr. also trying to work there. Oh, Brian Lorenzo gets spun. Heavy contact for Lorenzo. We've got Joe Gregory also involved in this. Looks like Austin Hable in this, Russ Kilgore in this, Ian Ogden involved in a wreck. So we go under our 4th caution. We are going to be headed to overtime here, Phoenix. Get ready for some extra laps and some angry drivers. We will grab a replays. Looks like it was 2 separate wrecks that happened out of that. See if we can find out. We'll first look at what happened to Brian Lorenzo. We'll take a look at what happened to Russ Kilgore, but you see heavy damage for Kilgore there on the front end. He's going to be headed to pit road. Joe Gregory coming to pit road, some left side damage. Charles Whitehead, heavy front end damage as well some right side damage across the number. See what we can find out happened there. Tough break for Brian Lorenzo. He's also got heavy front end damage, so let's pull out our replay, see what happened to bring this all out. So Brian Lorenzo working behind the 16 of Robert Wynn. This is out of turn number 2 onto the backstretch. Looks like he's going to try to get to the outside of Wynn, just not quite there. Makes some contact with the right rear Wynn. That shoots him up into the track, and he comes down hard across the track inside of the retaining wall. Clips Charles Whitehead. I'm not sure if Whitehead got the back of Gregory and Kilgore, caused them to spin around, or if they spun it on their own ahead of that, but certainly a tough break. Let's look at that again. I want to see if we can look at that from up above, get a better view of what exactly happened there. If that was, again, Lorenzo just misjudging that, which is a rare error we would have seen out of Lorenzo. Let's take a look at this from view above. So you see Lorenzo trying to get the run. He's going to get to the outside. It's kind of a bit of a racing deal, but that looks like that might have been the 16 of Wynn, maybe checking up just a little bit. So, yeah, it looks like Kilgore gets turned on the right side of Gregory, and that's what sends him around. That's just ahead before Charles Whitehead got sent around by 77 of Lorenzo. So, I'm going to grab another look. What happened there between Kilgore and Senior? It was a brutal impact they took as well. Let's watch this here. This can be up ahead. You're going to see Senior is going to be in the 57 Oh, he's going to get in behind this, so let's try to get a little bit of a better view up here. So we're going to see out of this Russ Kilgore. Here comes Joe Gregory. So Kilgore takes the impact. His car gets upset. He makes a little bit of right contact with Gregory and then gets him again in the right front side, sends him around. And you see Whitehead coming back up the track off of Lorenzo. So Whitehead, fortunately, going to make more contact with both Austin Habel in the 6 as well as the 7 of Kilgore. Man Senior is going to get turned off the nose of Chris Sawyer as everybody's trying to check up. Joe Gregory going to get a little bit of another shot to the right front off of Man Senior. So quite a few cars involved in this one in the back of the pack there on that restart. Those drivers trying to work their way up through the field, knowing there's very few laps left. Drivers going to be getting ready to work their way back on the green flag. These cars will be pulling off this time. Again, Janzik going to restart first, Harris second, Tyler Meeks third, and Junior fourth, Holden in fifth, Robert Wynn in sixth. We're going green, white checker. Crazy Dog T-shirts Xfinity Series overtime. Drivers going to get the green flag, and we have a caution. But before they get back to the start-finish line for the white flag, we will redo this again. Otherwise, if we get the white flag, either the caution or the next checker flag will end it. So we go back to green. Janzik getting a good jump, and Tyler Meeks working hard to the inside. Meeks going to try to take the second spot away from Harris. Harris falling all the way back to fourth place as Kyle Holden works by him as they go back into turn number 1. Janzik with the quarter second lead over Tyler Meeks. Meeks almost a third of a second ahead of these two. Meeks hunting Craig Janzik down though as they work their way down the backstretch and into turn number 3. Looks like we should be finishing this one under this last overtime. Janzik going to take the white flag. Next flag will end tonight's race. Janzik trying to pull away from Meeks. Gap still stands about 0.3 of a second. Kyle Holden battling side by side with James Harris. Harris jumps to the inside through 1. Going to try to work the inside line off of turn number 2. Holden going to get a little bit of momentum there outside of turn number 2. Not quite able to clear James Harris though. Does though. Lorenzo's going to try to insert himself. Craig Janzik going to work his way out of turn number 4. He's going to win the 9th race of the season. Tyler Meeks with a great second place finish. Kyle Holden able to hold on to 3rd. Looks like James Harris does finish 4th, just holds off Brian Lorenzo as Brian Lorenzo recovers to finish 5th. Some great action there on that final restart. Craig Janzik, I believe this is his 4th win of the season. Tyler Meeks starting to insert himself late season battles. Janzik gonna celebrate that race win. Won last week at Kansas. Does mark his 4th race win of the season. It's a great job by him. Drivers in here for post-race interviews. See if we can grab 3rd place finisher Kyle Holden. Got with me. Sorry for the technical issues. We will get everything sorted out momentarily. I got with me Kyle Holden, our 3rd place finisher. Kyle, you got a copy of me?
I gotcha. How you doing?
Apologize for that. Not too bad. That was a pretty interesting finish, to say the least. Tell me what it looked like, both when we got that caution to bring out the green-white checker, as well as on that final restart.
I kind of needed a green white checker just to get enough time to see if I could get to Craig, and then after the second restart there, James was racing me pretty hard there, so I didn't have any opportunity to try to even get past Meeks there. But Craig had a good race there. Yeah, I think he led every single lap, so good on him.
We had that caution that kind of came right as green flag stops were working their way. It was right around the lap 60 marker. So did that help you or did that hurt you in terms of how you were executing your pit strategy tonight?
Ultimately, I think it hurt me. I think Craig was actually saving fuel, and I think he was trying to go all the way instead of having to do another pit stop. the tire fall off, I would have definitely have not been able to catch up to them. But luckily, we got that caution, and then it kind of helped us out. But we had a lucky dog there, so we were able to get waved around. Kind of sucks that we had to start in the back there, but we made the best of it.
We saw you earlier on before that caution, working a hard battle against Craig Janzik. You were seeming to be about half a lane to maybe a full lane lower than him, especially through turn one and turn two. Were you just trying to find clean air over the nose, or just trying to possibly find any way underneath the Janzik to take the pass and grab the lead?
For the most part, I was just trying to get a little bit of clean air just to make sure I don't scrub my tires as much, so I can at least keep up with them. Midway through there, I think I was faster than him, but it's really hard to pass here. You got to kind of send it around the outside if they're hugging the bottom lane there. So there wasn't really didn't get really much of opportunity. He kept on, he kind of saw where I was going to go every time. So I think we could have had him if we had some a little bit more time, but we never know.
Certainly a great effort, a great third place finish. Anybody you want to send a shout out to or a thank you to before we let you go for the evening?
Yeah, of course. Huge shout out to Crazy Dog and you guys in the booth. Thanks for putting this on for us. And then huge thanks to Team Watson Racing and Affordable SEO for letting me run the car.
Congratulations on a great third place finish. Looking forward to seeing you in the season finale next week at Charlotte.
Appreciate it.
That was your third place finisher driver, the number 95 Toyota Super, Kyle Holden. We are going to grab our second place finisher, driver of the number 35 Waste Quip Ford Mustang. Got with me our second place finisher tonight, driver number 35 Waste Quip Ford Mustang, Tyler Meeks. Tyler, a great showing, able to gain 4 spots off a sixth place start. Tell me, what was the key to making that magic work there at the end of the race and find yourself inside the top three?
You got third place still, but got the wrong driver.
Sorry about that. I think
No.
thought iRacing had you scored as third place or second place. All right, I've got with me our second place driver, number 35, Tyler Meeks. Tyler, you got a copy?
Sure do. Go ahead, buddy.
All right, sorry about that. Wanted to see you had a great finish there, able to find yourself up 4 spots on the night after starting sixth. What was the key to success for you to find your way through the field there and navigate those last 2 restarts?
The restarts, I just got lucky. Timing the jumps pretty good. I would say the big turning point was the third to last caution. When everybody started pitting, I was kind of saving fuel, so I was staying way back. Half the field pit. Then the caution came out, allowing me to fuel up, put them guys a lap down. Well, they got their lap backs, but I was in front of them, so I think I restarted somewhere in sixth or seventh, and kind of just slowly made my way up to the front.
We saw that caution come out there around lap 60 that you noted. When you were waiting out there, were you waiting to maybe try to see if you could save enough fuel and go the rest of the race without a pit stop, or were you looking to see if a caution was going to come out and maybe try to trap the field a lap down like it did?
Yeah, no, that first caution, like lap 60, like you said, I missed pit road. So then I realized everyone else pit in front of me and I missed it. So I had to go back around. I did think about staying out for a split second, but my tires would have been shot. So yeah, just a misfortune. Luckily, it didn't ding me too bad, missing the pit road entrance and going back around. I think I restarted, like I said, back in sixth or somewhere back there and had a full tank of gas and some four fresh Goodyear tires.
Well, we saw you execute that to perfection. Restarts definitely seemed to be pretty hectic mid-pack. The couple front runners were able to get away, but it was pretty jumbled up behind them. What was the key for you to navigate once you restarted sixth there and kind of pick your way through the field off of that restart?
I was trying to stay on the outside. Turns one and two was more of like a middle high kind of corner to get the runoff. So I was trying to do that, and then people beating and banging just in front of me allowed me to get a run on them. And like I said, just saving tires and cautions coming out, slowly driving around them. I think I made most of my spots up on the restarts, just getting a better launch and getting a better turn one and two on the guys in front of me.
Well, congratulations on a great second place finish. Having a good run the rest of the season. Anybody want to send a shout out to or a thank you to before we let you go celebrate that?
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to you guys first, Team Goon Squad, for putting the race on the broadcast, and huge shout out to Crazy Dog T-shirts for throwing the sponsorship up to allow us to do this.
Great second place finish. Looking forward to seeing you with success in the season finale next week at Charlotte.
Yes, thank you very much.
That was your second place finisher, driver number 35 Waste Quit Ford Mustang, Tyler Meeks. We're going to grab our race winner, driver the number 02, Craig Janzik. Got with me our race winner, driver the number 02, Craig Janzik. Craig, you were the man of the hour, led almost every lap, I believe. What was the key for your success to put it on the pole and then just take advantage the entire race of that lead?
I think a lot of this one was experience, honestly, with this car and track. I enjoy driving Phoenix a lot, in various in the various NASCAR vehicles, but predominantly in the B car and the Xfinity car, rather, for those who don't know. But it's a very finicky little beast to try to make sure you're saving enough right front. And I think that having a lot of experience doing that with the last time that this track came around in official series was paramount for me today. The Free Beer and Hot Wings Morning Show Super was just on rails, and I'd kind of hoped it would be that way. I know that we got a little bit of fuel mileage going in there in the middle third of the race. That ended up not even being relevant due to that caution that occurred right behind me with the lapped car, and it still didn't even undermine the actual pace that we had. So I was really, really happy with this performance for sure, especially with only one race left in the season now, with a little bit of a pad in the championship.
Yeah, you executed that perfection. Were you prepared had we not had that caution there that came out around lap 60? Were you prepared to try to stretch it on fuel mileage and maybe go the rest of the race without pitting, or were you looking to just stretch it as long as possible and maybe take a quick splash of gas and then bring it home for the win?
No, I was looking to stretch it to the checkered flag. I kept my usage number very much in mind, and I kept it right at around with a half a lap in the tank. And that's, we were trending that way. I figured out the right usage number and was continuing to use it for about I would say about 12 laps consecutively, and I was really happy with keeping it at that number. And we were there, and I just had to continue to run the same pace for the rest of the race, and I would have had about half a lap in the tank, and that's exactly what I wanted. So I saw that the Holden and the Ronzo dipped to pit, and I was a little nervous about that because that strategy does typically work on braking tracks and tracks that eat a lot of tire. I think it would have been close, but I don't think they would have had the. I think they would have fallen maybe 5 to 8 seconds short of making it back up to me in track gap. But either way, um, it shortly thereafter didn't matter anymore, and we just had to we turned it right back into a pace race, and that's what I was feeling most confident about.
We saw some drivers have issues working their cars off of turn number 2, especially a couple drivers spun in almost identical spots. What was the key for you to be able to keep the rear tires gripped up on the track, keep the rear end underneath you, and drive the momentum off every time each lap?
The biggest thing about turn two is trying to straighten off the exit, because if you're not, if you're not dealing with maximum number of the maximum number, what am I trying to say here? Maximum amount of lateral grip. There we go. In the exit of turn two, you will loop it really easy, especially on cold tires, and that's what we saw that one lap car do. The one that happened right behind me that ended that fuel save run. I figured he just throttled up too hard, or didn't mind the lateral grip enough, and it ended up biting him. That happened to me in qualifying. My first lap was not great because I just about wrecked off of 2 on the first lap, so I cooled the tires back down and came around for another rip and was able to put down a little bit of a better lap. And it's easy to do here. It's everyone's faux pas in these cars, and just in any of the higher power cars. The truck's a little bit, it's a little bit harder to do in, but the Cup and Xfinity cars with all the power that they have, really got to be mindful of that. And it was evident with a couple of those cautions, like you mentioned.
Certainly, congratulations on a great job bringing home your 4th victory of the season. As you said, padding a little bit of that point standings coming into the championship round next week here at Charlotte. Anybody you want to send a shout out to or thank you to before I let you go celebrate the victory tonight, start the preparations for next week?
Yeah, man, gotta thank Crazy Dog T-shirts for their leading sponsorship with us, and thanks to you guys at Goon Squad for your investment into us with some broadcasts. I always love to see that, and thanks to the Freeburn Hot Wings Morning Show for being on all my cars, and thanks to the whole field for keeping the car counts pretty well deep into a season here. You always love to see that, and thanks to all the viewers out there for all that they do for us. And yeah, we'll move to Charlotte next week, where I really don't know what to expect. That is actually one of my worst tracks statistically, so couldn't have picked a better championship race to try to overcome that with. But we'll see how she goes. I think it could be a really interesting place to have a final race.
Well, best of luck in that event. We'll be looking forward to that next week. Congratulations on another dominant run tonight.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you.
That was your race winner, driver the number 02 Toyota Supra, Craig Janzik. It's going to wrap it up tonight. Sorry for the technical issues there, but we are going to grab your race results. So we had, again, 15 drivers show up tonight, able to get a good amount of the field on the lead lap. Had some drivers kind of get trapped down with the way those cautions felt at the end, but you still see 10 drivers able to finish on the lead lap. Had an exciting green-white checker to add some to the mix. See Janzik taking the win just ahead of Tyler Meeks, Holden finishing third, James Harris fourth, Brian Lorenzo able to work his way back up to fifth, Harley Belletta finished sixth, Man Jr. seventh, Joe Gregory eighth, Robert Wynn able to pull off a ninth place finish, up a couple spots from where he started, and Chris Sawyer brings the 25 machine home in 10th, last car on the lead lap. You see the rest of your field finishing there. All drivers were able to finish the race. We had a few drivers again off the pace, but certainly just a couple cautions, a couple solo car wrecks, but we had a couple big ones as well. As you heard Janzik talking about, certainly Phoenix provided for plenty of challenges for the drivers. A lot of drivers navigating it, making it look easy, but they were on the edge at all times. So great racing. Want to thank you all fans for tuning in tonight. Hope to have you back next week for the season finale at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And we will be back here, same place, same time next week for Crazy Dog t-shirts for subbies, the Crazy Dog t-shirts Xfinity Series. On behalf of Team Good Squad Broadcasting, my name is Jacob Fescan, and thank you all for tuning in tonight, and I look forward to seeing you all back here next week. Have a great week, everybody.